Loading the terror. Please hold.
Good evening. I welcome you to Strange Nexus, your portal to the realms of the strange, spooky, and unexplained. On tonight's episode, I bring to you the story of Henry, a national park ranger who learns that the forest holds secrets far beyond our understanding.
The moon hung high in the inky sky as I ventured deeper into the heart of Darkwood National Park. My name is Henry, a seasoned park ranger with years of experience patrolling these woods. But tonight, the forest felt different, unsettling, as if it were holding its breath. I had been tasked with locating a missing woman named Emily, who had vanished while hiking these very trails. With a flashlight in hand, I navigated through the dense undergrowth, my boots crunching against the fallen leaves. Every rustle of leaves and snap of twigs sent my heart racing, but I shook off the unease. After all, I had spent countless nights alone in these woods. I pressed forward, determined to find Emily and bring her to safety. As I ventured deeper into the forest, the temperature dropped noticeably. A cold mist settled around me, tendrils of fog curling between the trees. The beam of my flashlight cut through the haze, revealing gnarled tree trunks and twisted roots that seemed to reach out like skeletal hands. My walkie-talkie crackled to life. "Henry, come in. Any sign of the missing woman?" It was my colleague, Sarah. "Negative, Sarah. Still searching," I replied, my voice tight. I pushed onward, the sense of being watched intensifying with every step. The woods seemed to close in around me, and a chill ran down my spine. Suddenly, I heard a faint, haunting melody carried on the breeze, the sound of wind chimes, but somehow more ethereal. My flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced on the trees. My pulse quickened, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the forest itself was trying to lead me astray. But I couldn't afford to lose focus. Emily's life might depend on it. The path grew narrower, and I stumbled upon an old, overgrown trail that I hadn't noticed before. My gut told me that this was the way to go. As I followed the path, I became aware of strange symbols etched into the trees, symbols that seemed both familiar and alien. Minutes turned to hours as I trudged deeper into the forest. The temperature dropped even further, and I could see my breath in the frigid air. The wind chime melody grew louder, filling the air with an eerie resonance that seemed to tug at my very soul. Just as I was about to turn back, my foot sank into the ground. Panic surged through me as I realized I was caught in a primitive trap, a pit lined with sharp sticks. I winced in pain as the sticks dug into my leg. With a struggle, I managed to pull myself free, my heart racing. Breathing heavily, I assessed my surroundings. I was in a small clearing surrounded by tall trees, their branches like skeletal fingers stretching toward the sky. And there, across the clearing, were eyes, dozens of them reflecting the pale moonlight. As my vision adjusted, I realized that I was surrounded by small, goblin-like creatures. They were no taller than a child, their skin a sickly gray, and their eyes glowed with an eerie luminescence. Their faces were twisted into malevolent grins, revealing sharp, yellowed teeth. My heart pounded in my chest as I tried to make sense of the situation. These creatures couldn't possibly be real. But they were real, and they were closing in on me. My hand instinctively went for my flashlight, and I aimed it at the creatures. The beam of light illuminated their grotesque forms, casting long shadows behind them. They hissed and recoiled from the light, their eyes narrowing into slits. "Stay back," I shouted, my voice trembling. "I'm armed." The creatures continued to advance, undeterred by my threat. It was as if they were driven by something otherworldly, something beyond fear. I fumbled for my walkie-talkie, my fingers shaking as I desperately tried to get a signal. "Sarah, come in. I need backup now." Static crackled, and I could barely hear Sarah's voice. "Henry, what's happening?" "I'm surrounded by these creatures. I don't know what they are. Send help." The creatures were almost upon me now, their eyes burning with an otherworldly hunger. I frantically scanned the clearing for an escape route, but the trees seemed to close in around me, suffocating me with their presence. Then, a voice echoed through the clearing, a whisper that seemed to come from all directions at once. "Come with us, Henry. Join the dance of the forest." I staggered back, my heart racing as I realized that the forest itself was speaking to me. The wind chime melody had transformed into a haunting, mesmerizing chant that echoed through the woods. "No! Stay away from me!" I yelled, my voice laced with desperation. But the creatures were unrelenting. their hands reaching out for me. In my panic, I raised my flashlight and aimed it at the nearest creature. The light struck its eyes and it screeched, stumbling back. A sudden explosion of light illuminated the clearing, the headlights of a rescue vehicle. Sarah's voice broke through the darkness. "Henry, we're here." The creature shrieked and scattered, disappearing into the shadows as the rescue team descended upon the clearing. Sarah and her team helped me to my feet, their concerned faces illuminated by the vehicle's headlights. "Are you okay, Henry?" Sarah asked, her voice filled with worry. I think so," I stammered, my hands still trembling. As the rescue team examined the area, they found remnants of the primitive traps the creatures had set, a chilling reminder of the danger that lurked within the forest. We returned to the safety of the rescue vehicle, leaving the forest behind. Back at the ranger station, I recounted the night's events to my colleagues and superiors. It was a tale that stretched the bounds of belief, a brush with the supernatural that defied explanation. The symbols on the trees, the haunting melody, the goblin-like creatures, they were all pieces of a puzzle that refused to fit together. Months passed, and the memory of that night continued to haunt me. I couldn't shake the feeling that the forest held secrets far beyond my understanding, ancient forces that had stirred to life that fateful night. To this day, I can still hear the wind chime melody in my dreams, a haunting reminder of the whispering woods, where reality and the unknown collide, where the dance of the forest calls out to those who dare to venture too close. Months had passed since that chilling night in the whispering woods. The memory of the goblin-like creatures and the haunting melody still haunted my dreams, leaving me with a lingering sense of unease. The park had become a place of apprehension for me, but duty called, and I found myself once again patrolling the very woods that had shaken me to my core. As I walked the familiar trails, I couldn't shake the feeling that the forest was watching, waiting. The wind whispered secrets among the leaves, and the shadows seemed to move of their own accord. I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination playing tricks, but deep down I knew that something had changed within the heart of Darkwood National Park. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the trees, I received a call on my walkie-talkie. "Henry, we've got another missing person. A camper named Alex. Last seen near Whispering Creek. Can you head over there?" Dread knotted in my stomach, but I nodded to myself. I couldn't let fear hold me back. Alex's life was on the line. I made my way toward Whispering Creek, my flashlight cutting through the encroaching darkness. The air grew colder as I ventured deeper into the woods, and a shiver ran down my spine. The wind chime melody that I thought I had left behind echoed through the trees, carried on a chilling breeze. It was as if the forest itself remembered that night, and it was determined to remind me. Whispering Creek came into view, its tranquil waters reflecting the pale moonlight. My flashlight beam danced across the area, searching for any signs of Alex. The campsite was deserted, the tents empty and abandoned. "Alex?" I called out, my voice echoing through the trees. There was no response, only the rustle of leaves in the breeze. I moved further along the creek, my senses on high alert. It was then that I noticed something odd, an arrangement of stones at the water's edge, forming intricate patterns that seemed almost familiar. My heart raced as I realized that these were the same symbols I had seen that night. But why were they here? A twig snapped behind me, and I spun around, my flashlight illuminating the surrounding trees. There, standing just beyond the light's reach, were the goblin-like creatures. Their eyes glowed with malevolence, and their teeth glistened in the darkness. "Stay back!" I shouted, my voice quivering. "I won't let you take me!" The creatures remained just beyond the light, watching me with an unsettling intensity. They were different from before, more cautious, as if they had learned from our previous encounter. A voice, the same whispered melody from that night, carried on the breeze. "Henry, come with us. Embrace the dance of the forest." My heart pounded in my chest, and a mixture of fear and anger surged within me. I raised my flashlight, aiming it directly at the creatures. They hissed and recoiled, shielding their eyes from the light. "Leave me alone," I shouted, my voice echoing through the clearing. Suddenly the ground trembled beneath me, and I stumbled as the earth seemed to shift. Trees creaked and swayed, and a sense of unreality washed over me. The forest was changing, morphing into something beyond my comprehension. Through the shifting trees, I caught sight of a figure, a woman standing on the other side of the creek. It was Emily, the missing woman I had been searching for months ago. Her eyes were vacant and she moved with an eerie grace, as if she were no longer in control of her own body. "Emily?" I called out, my voice filled with a mixture of relief and concern. "My name is Henry and I'm here to help." The goblin-like creatures parted, allowing her to approach the water's edge. Her lips curled into a smile, but it was a smile devoid of warmth. She stepped onto the stones arranged in patterns at the creek's edge, her movements mirroring those of the creatures. I aimed my flashlight at her, hoping to break whatever hold the creatures had over her. "Emily, snap out of it. You don't have to do this." The wind chime melody intensified, its haunting notes intertwining with Emily's movements. She stepped onto the stones, her bare feet seeming to glide across them, her eyes fixed on me. And then, with a sudden burst of energy, she leaped into the air, her body defying gravity as she crossed the creek in a single bound. She landed in front of me, her eyes devoid of emotion, her movements synchronized with the rhythm of the forest. I stumbled back, my heart pounding as I realized that the forest itself was manipulating her, using her as a vessel to carry out its will. The creatures watched, their eyes glowing with anticipation. "Join us, Henry," Emily's voice echoed, a strange harmony between her voice and the wind chime melody. "Become one with the dance." A mixture of terror and determination surged within me. I couldn't let the forest claim me. I had to fight back. With a deep breath, I raised my flashlight high and aimed it at Emily. The light cut through the darkness, piercing through the enchanting melody. For a moment, there was a flicker of clarity in Emily's eyes, a spark of recognition. And then, with a collective screech, the goblin-like creatures retreated into the shadows, disappearing into the depths of the forest. Emily collapsed to the ground, her breathing labored, her eyes wide with confusion. I rushed to her side, helping her sit up. "Emily, are you okay?" I asked, my voice filled with concern. She blinked as if emerging from a trance. "Henry, what happened?" "You were under their control," I explained quickly. "We need to get you out of here." As I helped Emily to her feet, the wind chime melody faded, replaced by the sounds of the night, the chirping of crickets, the rustle of leaves. The forest had released its grip, at least for now. With Emily in tow, we made our way back to the campsite. The rescue team arrived shortly after, and as they tended to Emily, I recounted the night's events. It was a tale that stretched the bounds of reality, just as the first encounter had. Months turned into years, and the Whispering Woods remained a place of mystery and unease. I continued my work as a park ranger, but I knew that the forest held secrets that might never be fully understood. The goblin-like creatures and their enchanting melody were like fragments of a puzzle that defied solving. The memory of those nights never truly left me. I carried the weight of the Whispering Woods with me, a reminder that some mysteries are best left untouched, some forces best left undisturbed. And though I continued to patrol the woods, I always felt the eyes of the forest upon me, a silent reminder that the dance of the forest was a melody that would never truly fade away.
Wow, what a tale. This reality never ceases to amaze me. Now click subscribe and kindly like this video for more Strange Nexus.